Question 1. A project team is encountering frequent changes in requirements, making it difficult to establish a stable baseline early in the project. Which development approach would be most suitable for this scenario? A. Predictive life cycle. B. Iterative life cycle. C. Waterfall life cycle. D. Phased gate life cycle. Answer: B. Iterative life cycle. An iterative life cycle is most suitable when requirements are evolving or incomplete, as it allows for repeated cycles of planning, analysis, design, development, and testing. This approach delivers increments of functionality, enabling the project team to incorporate feedback and adapt to changing requirements more effectively than a traditional, single-pass predictive approach. For example, building a new mobile app where user feedback constantly refines features benefits greatly from an iterative approach. Remember, iterative development embraces change and refinement through repetition. Question 2. A project manager is reviewing the project's progress and notes that the Cost Performance Index, CPI, is 0.85 and the Schedule Performance Index, SPI, is 1.15. What do these values indicate about the project's current status? A. The project is under budget and behind schedule. B. The project is over budget and ahead of schedule. C. The project is under budget and ahead of schedule. D. The project is over budget and behind schedule. Answer: B. The project is over budget and ahead of schedule. The Cost Performance Index, CPI, indicates cost efficiency. A CPI of 0.85 means the project is only getting 85 cents of work done for every dollar spent, indicating it is over budget. The Schedule Performance Index, SPI, indicates schedule efficiency. An SPI of 1.15 means the project is progressing at 115% of the planned rate, indicating it is ahead of schedule. Understanding these indices helps project managers quickly grasp financial and timeline health. For instance, a construction project might have spent more than planned on materials but completed foundation work faster. Always remember, CPI and SPI values less than 1 are bad, while values greater than 1 are good. Question 3. During a project's execution, a critical team member unexpectedly resigns. As the project manager, which performance domain should you primarily focus on to address this situation? A. Planning performance domain. B. Team performance domain. C. Measurement performance domain. D. Development approach and life cycle performance domain. Answer: B. Team performance domain. The team performance domain focuses on activities and functions associated with organizing, managing, and leading the project team. A critical team member's resignation directly impacts the team's composition, capacity, and overall morale, requiring the project manager to address issues like knowledge transfer, skill gaps, and potentially new recruitment. For example, if a lead software developer leaves, the project manager must quickly identify who will take over their responsibilities and ensure the remaining team is supported. Prioritizing the team in such situations ensures continuity and minimizes disruption to project progress. Question 4. In an Agile project, at what event does the team inspect the increment and adapt the product backlog if needed, before the next sprint? A. Daily Scrum. B. Sprint planning. C. Sprint review. D. Sprint retrospective. Answer: C. Sprint review. The sprint review is a key Agile event where the Scrum team and stakeholders collaborate on what was done in the sprint and what has changed in their environment. Based on this, attendees inspect the increment, the potentially shippable product created during the sprint, and collaboratively adjust the product backlog to determine the next valuable things to work on. For instance, after demonstrating a new search feature in a software project, stakeholders might suggest adding filtering options, which then updates the product backlog. This event is crucial for transparency and adapting the product to evolving needs. Question 5. A project manager is tasked with building a new manufacturing facility. Due to the high complexity and the need for rigorous upfront planning, which project life cycle is generally most appropriate? A. Adaptive, Agile. B. Hybrid. C. Predictive, Waterfall. D. Iterative. Answer: C. Predictive, Waterfall. A predictive life cycle, often referred to as waterfall, is best suited for projects where the requirements are well defined, the scope is stable, and the project can be planned in detail upfront, such as in large-scale construction or infrastructure projects like a new manufacturing facility. In this approach, phases are typically completed sequentially, and significant changes are managed through formal change control processes. For example, constructing a bridge requires extensive architectural plans and permits before any physical work begins. Adopting a predictive approach helps maintain strict control and minimize unforeseen changes in highly regulated or stable environments. Question 6. A project team is struggling with frequent misunderstandings and miscommunications among members. According to the Project Management Institute, PMI, Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, which core value are they struggling to uphold most directly? A. Responsibility. B. Respect. C. Fairness. D. Honesty. Answer: D. Honesty. The core value of honesty in the PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct requires understanding the truth and acting in a truthful manner. Frequent misunderstandings and miscommunications within a team can stem from a lack of clarity, transparency, or truthful representation of information, impeding effective collaboration. For example, if project members are hesitant to share bad news or admit mistakes, it directly impacts honest communication. Fostering an environment of honesty encourages open dialogue and builds trust, which is essential for resolving conflicts and ensuring everyone is on the same page. Question 7. The project manager identifies a risk event that has a 70% probability of occurring and, if it does, will cause a cost impact of $100,000. What is the expected monetary value, EMV, of this risk? A. $30,000. B. $70,000. C. $100,000. D. $170,000. Answer: B. $70,000. Expected monetary value, EMV, is calculated by multiplying the probability of a risk event by its monetary impact. In this case, the probability is 0.70, 70%, and the impact is $100,000. Therefore, EMV equals 0.70 asterisk $100,000 equals $70,000. This calculation helps quantify the average cost or benefit of a risk, allowing project managers to prioritize risks based on their potential financial exposure. For instance, if another risk had an EMV of $50,000, this $70,000 risk would typically warrant more attention. Always remember, EMV is a statistical average and should be used for quantitative risk analysis. Question 8. In an Agile context, what is the primary purpose of a definition of done, DOD? A. To list all the features to be completed in a sprint. B. To define the tasks required to complete a user story. C. To provide a common understanding of when work on a product increment is complete and meets quality standards. D. To document the criteria for accepting a project's final deliverable. Answer: C. To provide a common understanding of when work on a product increment is complete and meets quality standards. The definition of done, DOD, is a formal description of the state of the increment when it meets the quality measures required for the product. It creates a shared understanding within the Scrum team about what done means for the increment, ensuring transparency and consistency in quality. For example, a DOD for a software feature might include code reviewed, tested, integrated, and documentation updated. Having a clear DOD helps avoid confusion, ensures quality, and builds confidence that the delivered work is truly complete and shippable. Question 9. A project manager is creating a project charter. Which of the following is typically not a key input for developing this document? A. Business case. B. Agreements, example contracts. C. Enterprise environmental factors. D. Detailed project schedule. Answer: D. Detailed project schedule. The project charter is a high-level document that formally authorizes the project and establishes the project manager's authority. It is created early in the project life cycle before detailed planning occurs. While the business case justifies the project's existence, agreements define relationships, and enterprise environmental factors influence the project, a detailed project schedule is an output of a later planning process, not an input to the charter. For example, you wouldn't need every task and dependency planned out to get authorization to build a new building. The charter is about authorization, not intricate execution details. Question 10. A project team is continuously refining its processes, tools, and overall effectiveness through ongoing introspection and adaptation. This behavior aligns primarily with which project management performance domain? A. Project work performance domain. B. Planning performance domain. C. Measurement performance domain. D. Uncertainty performance domain. Answer: A. Project work performance domain. The project work performance domain focuses on the processes and activities involved in performing the project work to achieve the project objectives, including managing knowledge, communications, and implementing continuous process improvements. The continuous refinement of processes and tools is a direct reflection of an organization's commitment to learning and adapting within the execution of the project work itself. For example, if a software development team regularly holds internal knowledge-sharing sessions and refines their coding standards, they are demonstrating effective management within this domain. This domain emphasizes efficient and effective execution. Question 11. During a project's closing phase, the project manager is archiving project documents and lessons learned. Which of the following is the primary benefit of performing these activities? A. To determine the final project budget variance. B. To ensure all project deliverables are formally accepted. C. To provide historical information and knowledge for future projects. D. To formalize contract closure and release resources. Answer: C. To provide historical information and knowledge for future projects. Archiving project documents and collecting lessons learned during project closure are crucial for organizational process asset updates. These activities capture valuable historical data, insights, and best practices that can be referenced by future projects, preventing repetition of mistakes and promoting successful approaches. For instance, if a specific risk mitigation strategy worked well, documenting it ensures it can be considered for similar future projects. This proactive knowledge management allows organizations to continuously improve and build upon their collective experience. Question 12. A project manager discovers a significant discrepancy in the quality of a manufactured component provided by a vendor. Which quality management tool would be most effective for investigating the root cause of this defect? A. Histogram. B. Control chart. C. Cause and effect diagram, fishbone diagram. D. Pareto chart. Answer: C. Cause and effect diagram, fishbone diagram. A cause and effect diagram, also known as a fishbone or Ishikawa diagram, is a visual tool used for root cause analysis to identify potential factors contributing to a problem or effect. It helps categorize possible causes, often grouped by categories like manpower, methods, materials, machines, measurements, and environment, to systematically explore underlying issues. For example, if a product is consistently failing a stress test, a fishbone diagram can help explore whether it's due to faulty machinery, incorrect material batches, or inadequate training. This tool is excellent for structured brainstorming to pinpoint the source of problems. Question 13. A project manager in an agile environment emphasizes fostering collaboration, removing impediments, and empowering the team to self-organize. This leadership style is characteristic of which role? A. Project sponsor. B. Product owner. C. Servant leader. D. Functional manager. Answer: C. Servant leader. A servant leader prioritizes the growth and well-being of their team members, leading by serving rather than directing. In an agile context, this means the leader focuses on facilitating team autonomy, removing obstacles, and providing support so the team can perform their best, rather than dictating tasks or controlling every detail. For instance, a Scrum Master embodies servant leadership by protecting the team from distractions and coaching them on agile practices. This approach builds trust and creates a more productive and empowered work environment. Question 14. Your team has identified a potential risk: a critical supplier might go out of business. To mitigate this, you decide to establish a backup supplier agreement. Which risk response strategy is this an example of? A. Avoid. B. Accept. C. Transfer. D. Mitigate. Answer: D. Mitigate. Mitigation is a risk response strategy aimed at reducing the probability or impact of a negative risk event to an acceptable threshold. Establishing a backup supplier agreement directly reduces the potential impact of the primary supplier going out of business, as you now have an alternative source. For example, if you rely heavily on one software component vendor, securing a contract with a second vendor minimizes the disruption if the first one fails. Mitigation seeks to lessen the severity of a risk, rather than eliminating it entirely or passing it to another party. Question 15. A project is halfway complete, and the project manager needs to re-estimate the total project cost based on current performance. The original budget at completion, BAC, was $500,000, and the earned value, EV, is $200,000, actual cost, AC, is $250,000. Assuming current variances are typical for the remainder of the project, what is the estimate at completion, EAC? A. $625,000. B. $500,000. C. $400,000. D. $375,000. Answer: A. $625,000. When current variances are typical for the remainder of the project, the estimate at completion, EAC, is calculated using the formula, EAC equals BAC/CPI. First, calculate CPI equals EV/AC equals $200,000/$250,000 equals 0.8. Then, EAC equals $500,000/0.8 equals $625,000. This calculation helps project managers forecast the total cost of the project based on past performance, indicating that the project is now expected to cost more than originally budgeted. For example, if a construction project is consistently over budget on initial phases, this formula helps predict the final higher cost. Understanding EAC is vital for proactive financial management. Question 16. The project team needs to engage a vendor to develop a specialized software module. Given that the requirements for this module are not fully defined and may evolve, which type of contract would be most appropriate to minimize risk for the buyer? A. Fixed price, FP, contract. B. Time and material, TNM, contract. C. Cost plus fixed fee, CPFF, contract. D. Firm fixed price, FFP, contract. Answer: B. Time and material, TNM, contract. A time and material, TNM, contract is best suited for scenarios where the scope or requirements are uncertain, as it allows for flexibility in adjusting costs based on the actual time spent by the vendor and the materials used. Unlike fixed-price contracts, it doesn't penalize the buyer for evolving requirements, and unlike cost-plus contracts, it often includes a cap, providing some cost control. For instance, hiring a consultant for a new, exploratory software development where the exact hours or features are unknown would typically use a T&M contract. This contract type offers a balance between flexibility and some level of buyer control. Question 17. A project manager is facilitating a meeting to identify potential risks and brainstorm risk responses. Which communication method is most effective for this type of interactive discussion and collaborative decision-making? A. Push communication, example email newsletter. B. Pull communication, example intranet portal. C. Interactive communication, example face-to-face meeting. D. One-way communication, example status report. Answer: C. Interactive communication, example face-to-face meeting. Interactive communication involves a multi-directional exchange of information, where participants actively engage in discussions, ask questions, and provide immediate feedback. For risk identification and brainstorming, this method, such as a face-to-face meeting or video conference, is highly effective because it fosters collaboration, allows for clarification, and encourages the free flow of ideas. For example, a workshop where team members use sticky notes and whiteboards to generate and categorize risks is a perfect illustration of interactive communication. This ensures everyone's input is heard and understood in real time. Question 18. A project manager observes that a project stakeholder consistently challenges decisions, delays approvals, and often attempts to exert undue influence. Which approach would be most effective for managing this stakeholder? A. Ignoring the stakeholder's input to maintain project momentum. B. Escalating the stakeholder's behavior to the project sponsor. C. Actively engaging and understanding the stakeholder's concerns and motivations. D. Replacing the stakeholder with someone more cooperative. Answer: C. Actively engaging and understanding the stakeholder's concerns and motivations. Proactive stakeholder engagement is crucial for managing challenging stakeholders. By actively listening and understanding their concerns, underlying motivations, and potential objections, a project manager can often address issues directly, build rapport, and find common ground. For example, a stakeholder delaying approval might be concerned about specific technical details. Understanding this allows the project manager to provide targeted information or involve the appropriate technical experts. This approach helps transform potential resistance into collaboration and minimizes negative impacts on the project. Question 19. In an Agile project, what is the primary focus of the project management performance domain measurement? A. Tracking individual team member performance against targets. B. Establishing detailed baseline metrics for predictive projects. C. Evaluating the project's performance and progress towards business objectives through relevant metrics. D. Measuring the cost and schedule variances using earned value management. Answer: C. Evaluating the project's performance and progress towards business objectives through relevant metrics. The measurement performance domain in the PMBOK Guide, 7th edition emphasizes assessing project progress, deliverables, and overall business value using appropriate metrics. In an Agile context, this means focusing on metrics that reflect progress toward achieving product goals and business outcomes, rather than just strict adherence to initial cost and schedule baselines. For example, tracking customer satisfaction scores, feature usage, or cycle time provides insight into the value delivered. This domain ensures that the project team is consistently evaluating if they are on track to deliver the desired value. Question 20. A large organization is embarking on a complex digital transformation initiative that involves multiple interdependent projects and programs. What is the most appropriate management structure to coordinate these efforts and ensure strategic alignment? A. Project Management Office, PMO. B. Functional Organization. C. Matrix Organization. D. Projectized Organization. Answer: A. Project Management Office, PMO. A project management office, PMO, is a centralized organizational unit that standardizes project-related governance processes and facilitates the sharing of resources, methodologies, tools, and techniques. For a complex digital transformation involving multiple interdependent projects and programs, a PMO is crucial for ensuring strategic alignment, consistency, resource optimization, and overall governance across all initiatives. For example, a PMO could establish common reporting standards, manage inter-project dependencies, and ensure that all transformation efforts contribute to the overall strategic goals. It provides the oversight and coordination needed for such large-scale endeavors. Question 21. Your team is delivering software updates incrementally, receiving user feedback after each small release to refine the next iteration. Which aspect of the development approach and life cycle performance domain does this emphasize? A. Predictive approach. B. Hybrid approach. C. Adaptive approach. D. Iterative approach. Answer: C. Adaptive approach. An adaptive approach, commonly seen in Agile methodologies, is characterized by fixed time and cost but evolving scope and requirements, often involving rapid iteration and frequent feedback loops. Delivering software updates incrementally and incorporating user feedback after each small release is a hallmark of this approach, allowing for continuous adjustment and improvement. For example, building a new e-commerce website where user preferences for features are discovered as the site is used benefits from continuous adaptation. This emphasis on flexibility and responsiveness helps ensure the product meets evolving user needs. Question 22. A project manager is conducting a brainstorming session to identify potential risks. The team generates a long list of risks. What should be the next logical step to prioritize these risks? A. Develop risk response plans for all identified risks. B. Perform qualitative risk analysis to assess probability and impact. C. Assign each risk to a team member for monitoring. D. Close out risks that are deemed too minor. Answer: B. Perform qualitative risk analysis to assess probability and impact. After identifying a long list of risks, the next logical step is to prioritize them, and qualitative risk analysis is the process for doing so. This involves assessing the probability of each risk occurring and its potential impact on project objectives, example schedule, cost, quality, using descriptive scales like high, medium, or low. For example, a high probability, high impact risk would be prioritized over a low probability, low impact risk. This prioritization helps the project manager focus on the most critical risks and allocate resources for response planning effectively. Question 23. A project team is nearing completion, but a critical deliverable is behind schedule. The project manager identifies that the delay is due to a shortage of a highly specialized expert within the team. Which action best reflects the project work performance domain in addressing this issue? A. Rebaselining the project schedule to reflect the delay. B. Issuing a change request to reduce the scope of the deliverable. C. Facilitating knowledge transfer or cross-training within the team to address the skill gap. D. Transferring the expert from another project to resolve the bottleneck. Answer: C. Facilitating knowledge transfer or cross-training within the team to address the skill gap. The project work performance domain focuses on the processes associated with creating, executing, and managing work to achieve project objectives, including managing knowledge and optimizing team performance. Addressing a skill gap by facilitating knowledge transfer or cross-training within the existing team is a proactive and sustainable way to enhance the team's capabilities and reduce dependencies on a single individual. For instance, if only one person knows how to operate a specialized machine, cross-training others ensures project continuity. This strengthens the team's resilience and efficiency in completing project work. Question 24. A project manager is conducting a lessons learned session at the end of a project. What is the primary purpose of this activity? A. To formally close all contracts and agreements. B. To assess individual team member performance for future assignments. C. To identify successes, failures, and recommendations for future projects. D. To obtain final acceptance of deliverables from the customer. Answer: C. To identify successes, failures, and recommendations for future projects. A lessons learned session, typically conducted at the end of a project or phase, is a crucial process for organizational learning. Its primary purpose is to identify what went well, what did not go well, and what could be done differently to improve performance on future projects or phases. For example, if a particular communication strategy led to misunderstandings, this session would identify it as an area for improvement. The insights gained are documented and made available as organizational process assets to foster continuous improvement within the organization. Question 25. A project manager is tasked with ensuring all project communications comply with regulatory requirements and organizational policies. This concern primarily falls under which project management performance domain? A. Measurement performance domain. B. Project work performance domain. C. Planning performance domain. D. Uncertainty performance domain. Answer: B. Project work performance domain. The project work performance domain encompasses the activities and functions associated with managing project communications, which includes ensuring that all communication artifacts adhere to established regulatory requirements, organizational policies, and stakeholder communication plans. Compliance with these standards is a critical aspect of performing the project work ethically and effectively. For instance, ensuring all legal disclaimers are included in external communications for a financial product launch falls under this domain. This domain focuses on the practical execution of project activities to meet objectives, including adherence to governance.